are listening to Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
There has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change reality.
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
Goof On Radio.
You were either in or you were either out, brother.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Goof On Radio.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
You are listening to Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
All right. Don't be upset because we're not wet. We're going to go quick. Welcome to Goof On, everybody. I'm your host, Rich Giordano. Sorry we're late, but sometimes nature calls and sleep is the word, I don't know. Didn't expect it, but I did. I guess I took a little hour nap, but here we are. We're live. A few minutes late. So with that being said, tonight we're going to talk about, my background, the Doddleston time travel mystery. It is a weird one, folks. It is a weird one. Waiting for the background. There it is. All right. Welcome to Goof On, everybody. It is Saturday, 9/23/23. 9/23/23. It's UFOs and time travel mystery with Goof On tonight. Let's do a little bit of roll call, get this stuff going. Don't worry, I'm not going to cut you guys short of time. We'll go for about 2 hours. Got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. And I'm grateful that you're here. No, really. Last night's show was phenomenal. I don't know. I liked it. It was funny. There was there was a lot of stuff going on. we had a lot of people on for as many as we had here. Like 10% of the audience showed up and contributed last night. That was amazing. Yeah, we had 9, well, like for the first 45 minutes. Then after that, everybody showed up. And that was fun. So I can't thank you enough for that last night. It was a good time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. See, that's what I want. I want Fridays, do we fill up the room with voices and people from the chat? Now, I'm thinking of something here. I don't know if we do it every week. I think I should do it every other week. Well, for one, it seems like there's not a lot of stuff to talk about, even though there's a ton to talk about. But I think that if we do it every other week, we have different people showing up. Maybe other people will want to join in. I don't know. I think Fridays, it's a good thing to do on Fridays. I like it. So we'll probably keep doing it until we can't do it anymore. I just appreciate it that you guys showed up. That was fun. So we'll do that again. I don't know. I'm always thinking. I think too much, and then I'm like, I ruin a good thing. Oh, my watch. Oh, I was charging it. I got to go grab it. Jeanette Angel, everybody. Welcome to the show. Jeanette with a 5-pound, 5 quid super dono. It's a special dono. It's a triple heart threat. Yep, it's a THT, a triple heart threat. THT from Jeanette. Thanks, Jeanette. Mucho gusto, Generoso, a continuing supporter of GoofOn. Jeanette, the angel of GoofOn. With that being said, and welcome to the show, Jeanette. Glenn Croy throwing down a $20 at 20 after the hour. Yep. Right at 7:20 p.m., which is 4:20 Eastern Pacific, So hope you guys are enjoying your 4:20 moment 6 minutes ago. Glenn Croy throwing down a 20 super dono, a traditional super dono. It's how you say, I love you. And you did it again. Glenn Croy throwing it down with superiority. Huh? Thank you very much. GC throwing it down. Mucho gusto, Generoso, and welcome to the show. Helen, welcome to the show. Why, oh, why, fools, welcome to the show. Renee Cruisin. Look new. Donovan, welcome to the show. The great Snafu. Oh, Lantonio. How you doing, great Snafu? Welcome to the show. I fell asleep. After the show, we'll talk. We'll do that after the show. Yeah, well, I just said it, so now I got to do it. I'm sorry. I fell asleep. I must have fallen asleep for like 4 hours, probably. Yeah, it was 3:30 the last time I looked at the clock. And I was actually watching the Doddleston time mystery because I wanted to watch it again to go over, because I'm going to play from the Y-Files, the video that the guy made about the Doddleston time travel mystery. Mind forked. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Lantonio, welcome to the show. I forgot to say it. Samo, what's up, Chief? Samo, Goofonian Rockstar. Welcome to the show. Dorothy Hawkins. Every other week seems right. Yeah. Not enough news at the moment. That's how I feel. So we're going to play it by ear. The busier it is in ufology, I just heard someone say Doddleston. It was a woman's voice. And it sounded like this. Doddleston. FAP, what do you say? F.A.P. Welcome to the show. Jessica Paquette. How you doing, Jess? Alfie Joe Bob, welcome to the show. Paula Faust, welcome to the show. All right, let's get started. Tony, welcome to the show. Did I say it, Donovan? If I didn't, I'll say it again anyway. Donovan, welcome to the show. All right, let's get going. Intergalactic Angler, welcome to the show. I know, I just see names popping up. All right. Hey, third phase of moon. Third phase of moon? Why do I know that name? Oh, TPOM. Nah, you guys, welcome to the show. What are you doing over here? Why? What is going on tonight? Michigan UFOs. Wayne's here. Hey, man, welcome to the show. This is going to be a nice... Now the pressure's on. Now the pressure's on. Now I have to do this thing, right? I have to do it the right way. All right, we're going to get a copyright claim for sure. I've got too much pressure tonight. TPOM's here. What's up, fellas? That's nice to see. I'm glad, because I was going to play one of your videos to start off the show. We're doing a little different tonight. I usually show third phase of moon towards the halfway point, towards the last half hour. Same with other sightings. I usually put them towards the last half hour. Lately, I've been peppering them throughout because, you know, like Dorothy said, hey, there's not a lot going on. There is, but there isn't. You want to talk about the same stuff over and over, be my guest. I'm trying to talk about stuff nobody's talking about or is interesting, hence this. But with that being said, and in the same vein of conversation, I do want to play the third phase of moon video that was just released, I believe. Well, here it says 7 hours ago, but that's not true. Massive UFOs, miles long, NASA can't explain. So we're going to kick it off. This way I can go grab my watch. We'll get the show started off with some TPOM. And welcome to Goof On tonight, everybody. Here we go. Watch some UFOs, TPOM. Giddy up. Thanks, fellas.
Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins, along with my brother Brent, we've got the situation for you tonight. It's about UFOs, and we've got a plethora of them. Buckle up. Take a look at this incredible image. Did you just see it? Quite insane, and let me tell you the details behind this. Just earlier today, I received a Gmail from Kobe Bryant. He noticed something as of September 19th, a release from NASA and the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory showing the Parker Solar Probe getting close in on a coronal mass ejection, known as a CME, but what was captured hasn't been explained, nor is the major media covering it. That's why we're showing it to you right now at Third Phase of Moon. Something extraordinary. Look at as we enhance this footage, something comes into frame and it lasts for moments of time, which resembles some kind of flying disc, 4 or 5 times larger than our planet. What are we looking at, Brent? Take a look and let me know what you think here.
Yeah, good capture right here. Kobe did a good one on this. Look at what we're looking at here. Look at the phenomenon. We don't know what this is, and this is a great close-up with some contrast, really showcasing whatever it is kind of go in and out of existence. Very cool. You could kind of just see it move from right to left. It kind of even makes a little bank. What are we looking at here? Could this maybe be some optical lens effect that we're looking at here? I just don't know, but this is a great find, and whatever it is, this is still on for debate. What do you think, guys? Leave a comment below.
Absolutely, Brent, and we're looking forward to hearing everybody's comments. And again, we've got a lot of UFOs tonight, but this one stood out to me. That's why we're sharing it to you right off the bat. What the heck is going on? We're looking at this, and again, with these enhancements, we don't have any answers for you, except that what we're looking at could be some kind of otherworldly craft. Again, massive in size, in and out, maybe of existence, or maybe it's just moving in and out of the optic range. Again, the CMA, the coronal mass ejection, And then this is captured. Again, I'd rather want NASA to explain some of this, as well as some of the anomalies captured in this video. Incredible stuff. Now, like I said, we've got a lot of videos, so let's roll the next one. Check it out.
Holy smokes. Literally and figuratively. Let's go backwards a little bit. I don't know what this is. I have no clue. It is just bizarre. Right? I don't know. I don't know. What do you say? There's something there that seems to be going against all that seems natural. I would love to see NASA explain. This is the stuff we're talking about right here. If NASA wants to get some good files, go to TPOM. They've got all your files on file, right? We've seen them over the years. If I knew I was going to play this tonight, right at the beginning, I would have gotten other comparisons to other things that were found by NASA. Not by NASA, I'm sorry, third phase of moon, which needs a NASA explanation, and we never get it. And that's the thing, you know, we want transparency in this field more than anything. And we're just not getting it. And NASA, you know, a week and a half or so ago comes out and says, we're going to show you everything. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to be transparent. Yes. As they look right into our eyes and lie to us, Mr. Bill Nelson. I know, never a straight answer. Got it. Got it. You know, and then this is it looks like, how long is this video? 20 minutes from third phase, and then I went into this other sighting. All right, let's take a quick look. And then I'll put the link to the video in the show description immediately following this show. See, these are the things that, you know, it's not fake. If that's not a blimp, then it's a UFO. There's no other explanation for it, right? Are there drones that look like this? Unless the center of this is hollowed out and there's a turbine in the middle there, right? Is it a turbine? If there's propeller in the middle of that thing.
Right, let's get a side-by-side comparison.
No,
the
it's not.
To the left, I blew it up to the right just to get a better close-up.
This is good.
Again,
It's good stuff.
Lasts, approximately 45 seconds to a minute. We're skeptical on this one. When I first looked at it, I'm like thinking, this seems like there's something not right about it.
Right, I knew it.
After a further look into this, I'm still on the fence. Right now, I'm hoping this is legit, but I'm not giving this one 100%. I like the way he pulled.
Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. There's just something a little askew. It's like almost too good to be true, right? But, you know, it seems to be consistent with the shaking and all. I mean, people can fake stuff really well. But there's something a little weird. You can see little ridges in here. Now, maybe it's pixelation. I don't know, man. But I know what Blake was talking about. But there's something underneath that looks like either it's the shadow because of the sun's location, and this is a disk, and we're just seeing it. But you don't see shadows on the sky. You would see a shadow on itself if this thing curved underneath. Or there's a platform underneath here, which is where all the mercury is spinning around, creating the hovering effect that happens in Vermanas. End of story. I figured it out. It's a disc-shaped Vermana. It's a good one. Tough business we're in. You know, you got to worry about people faking. You got to worry about people lying. You got to worry about drones, balloons, birds. But one thing you can't do is blame Third Phase of Moon for the videos. They didn't shoot it. They just showing us what the public gives us. I get them too. Not as to the, you know, not what they get, but you know, when I get the sightings in, I'm like, yo, you know, so for them to post stuff that isn't just a dot, it's not as common as you think. And they're very choosy and you know, that, you know, I don't know. It's not an easy business we're in. But anyway, neither here nor there. It is a UFO sighting or two. And that first one, forget about it. You know, I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh my gosh. I didn't see the next couple in here. Oh my God. I want to play this. Oh no. Oh, this is good, you guys. All right. So where is this? Oh, I've got to play this one. There's like 8 sightings on this video. I've got to play this. I've got to play this next one. Well, I have to. It's just too good to pass up. I see some supers came in. I'll get to those in a sec. I got to play this. There's so much in here. If there was only 3 sightings, I wouldn't play this. But there's like 8 in here. What is this?
Venga, córrele.
I know, chica. Engana Mosoro. Loro Makana Maksiro. UFO. That's gotta be a cloud. Wait, something came off of. What? You see, this I don't need. You know what?
Mexico lights up again.
What the hell?
Illuminated craft just in front of the hillside. It seems that it releases some kind of pyrotech. Or
what the?
Drops something from itself in a
unbelievable
succession of drops. And just
what is this?
Highlighted again. What the heck are we looking at? I've never seen anything quite like this. And then it just kind of just fades away quickly as I get a closer look. I did some enhancements. I tried to track it as best as I could. You can see these little orbs line up and then just drop a massive amount of fire. That's all I could say. In a double succession. Does it happen 3 times? Let's see it one more time.
It looks like 3 times, I think.
What the heck? I have no explanation for you except what we're looking at is legitimate, and somebody got the shot this month right here, Brent. This is.
I've never seen anything like that. I don't know what it is. It's bizarro, is what it is.
Going down in one of my best ones for the month.
It's great.
Yeah, Blake, this is badass footage right there. At first, I thought it could have been maybe a building on top of the hillside. It would have had to have been a massive building reflecting the sun. But then again, we're seeing this, the fire just
I don't understand.
From the top side of this cylindrical golden-like object like we just saw in the video earlier. It seems like it's about the same size. Is this what we're looking at? These luminescent craft that kind of showcase themselves with this plasmic energy that
I don't know.
Just kind of extrudes out of the bottom of it. This is fascinating stuff right here. Digging this.
This is really, you know, this is. What is it? There's 2 things. All right, maybe 3 things this is. A hoax. You know, it's CGI. I don't think it is. 2, it's real. And there's something in the sky that I've never seen before. This is what amazes me about this field. There's always something new. Whether it's misidentification, a hoax, or it's real, there's always something new we have to understand. And I don't understand this one. I don't get it. I don't, even for a hoax. Like, why would anybody think of making something that looks like this and then dropping off? I can't even fathom a thought like that. It doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, it does come from Spain, I think. So, you know, right? Somewhere around Mexico, maybe Spain. I don't know. Well, they have a love, let's just say an addiction to firework displays out there. They do. And if I had the access, I would too. I would love playing with fireworks. That's the only other thing I could think this is. But look how big it is. It's huge.
Absolutely. I'm hoping
it's huge.
Anybody in Sonora, Mexico.
Sonora, okay. Sonora.
If they're lucky enough to witness this event,
Sonora?
reach out to Third Phase of Moon. Contact us. We want to see more videos. I'm sure other.
All right. You know, my head's going to explode. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
People had their.
It's pretty cool, though. Yeah, it looks like it's there. I don't think that's fake either. Yeah. It's always something new. You don't get that from Jeremy Corbell, right? You don't get that. What do you get from Corbell? Non-UFOs. Good answer. Look at everybody's on top of their Corbell history. All right, I said we saw some supers here. We got Denbub. Hey, Denbub. How you doing? Space Jellyfish. I think that was from earlier. But thank you, for the NASA thing. Thank you very much for being a member forever from day one. Mucho gusto, Memboroso. Denbub. Thanks for the message. Space Jellyfish. And Ed Chouffet. Chouffet. $2. I'm sorry. Well, that $1 and another one. 2 super stickers from Ed Chouffet. I'm sorry. I just drank dinner during the video. All right. Thank you very much, Ed. Again, your contributions. I almost said it like I was from the UK. Contributions. How do you say that, Jeanette? Contributions? Well, thanks, Ed, for that. Mucho gusto, generoso, Ed Chouffet. Thank you very much. You guys, you can help support Goof On the same way. Super Chat, Super Sticker, PayPal, Cash App. All the links are in the show description. You know what to do. You're doing it already. What's up, Robert Smith? Nick Geek out. Welcome to see you there, Bob Birkins. Moody Mongols here, everybody. Good to see you guys. Hey, that pool guy, OKC. How you doing? All right. On with the show, as the kids say, back in 1932. All right. Every show we have to do it. We have new people here. I see some new faces. Never seen you here before. So what I do is I do ufology 90% of the time. 80. Right? Not like every other show out there. I could tell you that. A lot of people, this right here is an acquired taste. It's like drinking alcohol. You're like, and then you're like, and then you feel a little buzz and you're like, not so bad after all. I kind of like this. So hopefully you stay here long enough to understand what I'm about and what we do here. Because we don't hate ufology. We love ufology. There's a big misconception out there about what Goof On is. And Goof On is Giordano's UFO network. And we just want to explore every possibility out there, the best that we can with the knowledge that we've acquired over the years. A lot of it. And the people that I've networked with and talked to have more experience than me. So there you go. We put it all together. We come out with what I like to say, the real narrative of ufology, where it's all about money. It's all about the defense contracts, the black budget programs, and the careers of those that are helping get those things approved. Corbell, Elizondo. Now you've got Gary Nolan, Travis Taylor. All these people are in the same playing field. They're all friends. They all know each other. They're all on TV. They're all the voices you see in ufology. And it's a lie. They could give a shit about disclosure. They may look like they're working towards it, believe you and me, but it's a ruse. It's all about getting their careers. All they have to do now, Grush and others, they just have to, even, what's his name? Ryan, whatever his Graves is going out on the circuit now, doing the Jaime Maussan thing. I wonder how much they paid him for that. Flight included. And I tell you all this because the first time we saw Lou Elizondo, I said, this guy's dirty. I just know it. And everybody said, you're crazy. He's bringing disclosure. And I said, well, the prediction was made. I said, he won't be here more than 5 years. Sure enough, almost 5 years to the year, to the day. I don't know. Lou Elizondo gave up on us. Couldn't handle the pressure. Playing all those sock puppet accounts that you guys like to call them. All these different personalities. And what he was really doing was infiltrating ufology to find out what we thought about him. It was all about him. He says it was about, well, this is what I'm talking. I bring it all in to show you this every single day to remind those who think they know what ufology is about that this is the real ufology. This is what I'm telling you has been ufology from day one from Lou Elizondo. And there we go.
Department of Defense, ironically enough, to finish the very mission they gave me in the first place. I didn't ask for it. I'm not a UFO guy. I'm not a ufologist. I never have been. I never will be. I'm a counterterrorism and counterespionage guy. I do counterintelligence, counterinsurgencies. That's what I do. And it just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community.
Isn't that nice? What a nice guy. Hey, Lou. I gotta put down my burrito for this. Who is it? It's Admiral Schwarzkopf. We need you at the UFO. I'm not working at no UFO office. He didn't want to do this. You think Kirkpatrick wants that job at Arrow? The guy looks miserable. But from what I understand, he always looks that way. A lot of analytical people, they have the personality of wet paint. But that's okay. They're good people. Doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means Kirkpatrick is a dirty... He's part of the problem. But he's not in it for the career. He's in it to save his career. I don't know. I think Lou Elizondo got put into that position because he did something he wasn't supposed to do. He got in trouble with whoever it was in the military, whatever it was he was doing. I think he got the ultimatum. Lou, you could either retire or we could fire you, or you could go do something for us and save your career. We'll wipe the slate clean if you do this for us. Holy shit, what is it? Well, Lou. So I think he got demoted, put in that freaking basement, and the guy went a little nutty. Started reading everything about him online. And then I can't handle people not liking me. Then we've got other people in the field. George Knapp. Nice guy, right? Investigative journalist. A true investigative journalist, like Linda Moulton Howdy Doody, fresh and fruity. But he got hooked up with Jeremy Corbell. And that was a mistake, in my opinion. Sometimes I see Corbell and, during the Weaponized podcast, he and Knapp, and sometimes Corbell will be talking and Knapp will, you could almost hear his eyes rolling. Like can't believe he's doing this again. And he's trying to stop those eyes from rolling. But, you do see a twitch come out of him. I went through phases with George Knapp. I loved him. I hated him. Now I'm all right. I've come to the realization George Knapp is not a bad guy. He's just a dirty journalist. He's a dirty journalist. Dirty journalist is the word of the day, or words of the day. Let's see who chimed in. Right at dirty journalist. Oh. Oh. Who's did this? All right. Michael Serrano with the $5 PayPal support message says, YouTube Blues batteries. Ain't that the truth? What does that mean? I believe you. I don't understand. YouTube Blues batteries. Is that your YouTube name? Well, I'll figure it out. Michael, thank you very much for the $5 PayPal support. That's unbelievable. I really appreciate that. PayPal goes directly into the kitty immediately, and we appreciate that as well. Appreciate you. Oh, and I think that was your first one, right? Yeah, we like to do, support. Well, we used to do this all the time, but I haven't. Thank you, Michael Serrano, for the $5 PayPal support. It's a big gush. All over those that hate ufology. Who? Back to work, Rich. All right. Thank you. I was going to play this. So George Knapp, as I was saying, I have a love and hate relationship with George. I do give him the benefit of the doubt now. But he did give us Bob Lazar. And without Bob Lazar, what else would other people talk about? Bob Lazar is like, he's starting to chime in more. Have you noticed? Isn't there a documentary with him? Check this out. Knapp. Here you go. The closer you get to making real progress, the tougher it is to get through the government. Oh, that's good. So the closer we get to the truth means the harder they're going to push back. Got it.
The closer you get to making real progress, the harder the pushback is going to be.
I know. I just said that.
That pushback is underway right now. The chairman of the House Intelligence Committee is one of those sources of that pushback. He's trying to stop further hearings. He's already said there will be no more. He's trying to stop the creation of a select committee that would have subpoena power. He's trying to discourage his colleagues, and he's a powerful guy. He's trying to discourage his colleagues from supporting Burchett and Luna and the others who are trying to push this ball down the field.
Everything George is saying is true, by the way. Just noting that down.
And then reality sets in. Reality for Congress. The real risk in this UFO disclosure movement, if that's what you want to call it, is that other things take precedent. They always have. Right now, Congress just got back into session. Look what they're dealing with. They're talking about shutting down the government. Members of the House and some in the Senate are saying they are not going to approve the defense budget that has that Schumer legislation. They're not going to approve the overall budget. They're ready to shut down the entire government. They've launched what looks like an impeachment proceeding against the president. You can bet that those two items, among some other things, are way higher on the list than UFO transparency, that members of Congress are dealing with those as a matter of priority. Far more of their time is going into that than in dealing with UFOs. That's just reality. And that's what has cut off UFO inquiries and investigations in the past. And I think that it plays into the hands of those who don't want it to go further right now.
Every single time. And I say this to you, every week. When a different administration comes in, all the programs that were signed on and approved, they get shut down because of the next administration's belief system, or they want to allocate money to go somewhere else. So they get rid of what they think are useless programs. Ufology does pay the price 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, maybe 9, I don't know. It's somewhere in there. But that's why it's so hard to keep these programs going for a decade. You get 4 to 8 years with a president, and now all of a sudden, you got 90 days left in your research. You're getting close to finding life on Mars, the moon, wherever, and they're going to shut you down. It's why we didn't have Apollo 17 or 18, 19, and 20 missions. Yep. I learned that from the Y-Files, by the way. I love the Y-Files. That guy is great. I don't know. It's just some people do a really good job in this, with the UFO lore and mysteries of the unsolved and the unthinkable. And I like the Y-Files. The guy's good. Not a bad gig to have. But George said it. George said it. The more stuff that's going on in Congress, in the world, the less ufology will have any attention. And that's where we're at. That's why a lot of people were saying, if we don't have disclosure or something major happen by this year's end, we're not going to have it for a long time. You heard Greer say it. You heard Corbell and Knapp say it. You heard me say it. It's true. Because it's true. This is as close as we have ever been. And it feels like we're a million miles away. God, I feel like that's all the fight's been about for these 19, almost 20 years. It's just the constant pushback. We take a step closer, they push us a step back. We take 2 steps closer, they push us 3 steps back. We're always chasing the carrot. Glenn Croy throwing down another $10 super dono. What is this, raining love? It is pure love for GoofOn. Glenn Croy, thank you for the support. Again, huge support from Glenn Croy. Thank you very much. It's a super dono. A dono is a donation with no message or sticker. It's just love. Thanks again, Glenn Croy. Seriously. Mucho gusto, generoso. All right, I'm going to play. Now, we're going to get to the, we're running a little behind tonight because we started late, so don't worry about the time. I'm going to do a full show. I'm not going to cut it short, hour and a half. We're going to go over 2 hours probably. Going back to what I was saying, for those who are new here and don't understand what GoofOn does, we like to believe, and not because we want to believe, but I think the proof in what people say and what these newcomers do, and I say newcomers, I'm talking about Gary Nolan, Travis Taylor. Yeah, they've been around for a while. But in the last 5 years, they've really gotten into the limelight. TV shows, interviews, so on and so forth. But you get people who really don't know what's going on, and then they say stuff that they hear other people say, and now they're all of a sudden the information king or queen of ufology. Gary Nolan is one of those echo people. He's an echo chamber for all of his friends. Gary Nolan, who's one of the smartest people in ufology, is one of the dumbest people in ufology. Not all the time. A lot of the times. Every now and then, you throw up enough crap, some of it's going to stick to the wall, right? And that's what we get with Gary. Same thing we get with Eric Weinstein. Same thing we get with Rose Cuckold. These people are echo chambers. They don't think for themselves. They think for each other because they think, what can I do to better my career? What can I say that's controversial and nobody can disprove? What can I say that will make me sound smarter than everybody else? Oh, I know a guy. Oh, I know a whistleblower. Oh, I'm friends with so-and-so. So nobody, no one anywhere has given us any evidence that's worthy of being researched time and time again because it's so unbelievable that nobody can disprove it. There's no evidence like that for the public anyway. Gary Nolan makes me laugh. He's my entertainment. But sometimes he gets it right. So here, he says, I've seen data from a couple of groups now that were pretty extraordinary and obvious interactions with ... something. He went on to say, I've never seen anything so extraordinary. You know what he said? Nothing. See what I mean? He said nothing. I saw something. It was so extraordinary. It can't be. It must be ... Well, something. Ooh, wow, great job. Thank you for making me feel so close to you. Like my experiences and that statement alone go hand in hand. Wow. Thank you, Gary, for trying to fit in with the people who are really in ufology for the right reason. Thank you for saying nothing once again. Another Lou Elizondo training mission gone awry or working perfectly. They all got training from Lou. How to say something and nothing at the same time. It's beautiful. Actually, they all got their training from, what's his name again? Thornton Mellon? Christopher Mellon. There you go. Here's Gary P. Nolan talking out his...
I have seen data.
Bullshit. You haven't seen anything. All right, sorry.
From a couple of groups now that were pretty extraordinary and obvious interactions with something.
As he shakes his head no, which translation body language wise means nothing. We saw something. Nothing. I
mean, I don't want to get into the details. I'll
Don't get into any details. God forbid there's any details to be given. Can't do details, but he knows somebody somewhere with something extraordinary. It's amazing. ...
I'll wait for them to get their data together. I'm going to help them write up the paper. But I've never seen anything so extraordinary.
Right.
I'm sorry for being,
Even his freaking facial expression is telling you and me the truth. You and I? He's like, I don't even believe what I'm saying. I can't believe I said that. I mean, it's all written in plain English on his face.
No, you've got to respect people too, and these are your peers, right? So if you quickly get a name for just giving away people's work, nobody wants to work with you anymore.
Who wants that? Nobody wants details.
It is extraordinary if we can get it down. I mean, it was a once only event, but it was recorded by 2 cameras, and it was very close up. I don't know.
There, up and to the left. Keep thinking about what you're going to say next. Keep thinking. Make sure you got the right script, Gary P. Nolan. The P is not for professor. Keep thinking about that story.
How to explain it, but it clearly reacted to their
these long pauses, these thought-induced answers. When you're telling a story that's truthful, you don't sit there and have to think. It just comes out because it's the truth. But when you're remembering what you have to say because you've said it before, and you want to make sure you say it exactly like you did last time. Because if you don't, well, it's what we got. We've got Gary Nolan trying to remember instead of just telling. And this is another problem we have with this guy. Every time he speaks, he's
their signal.
That's not how you tell a story. Yeah, you know, there we saw some da 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 da, and it was like amazing, and then there's and this happened. He's like, well, whew, let me think for a second. Yeah, yep, there was this. You know, I mean, it's like, just tell it. What are you doing? Just tell the story, because it's not real. Yeah, listen to the rest. 12 seconds.
Their signal, and it got up close and personal. So.
Oh, look, he remembered that line and he got happy about it. It got up close and personal. Yeah.
It got up close and personal.
Oh, I remembered. Nerd. What a nerd burglar. I don't even know who that guy is anymore. He used to be cool back in the day before the CIA got a hold of him. Poor Gary P. Nolan. What a big doofus. What a doof. He is. He's a doofus. He is the definition of doof. All right. He is. Oh, this guy's name calling people? What kind of show is this? I didn't come here for that. All right. I'm going to play this for a minute or two, and then we're going to get into the Doddleston UFO time mystery. What is it? What are we doing? It's time travel mystery. Do I want to play this? Hold on. Okay. All right. I in the same vein of the conversation tonight that's been happening since we started this event, we're going to hear from somebody who, well, worked at NASA, Bob Oshler. And this is what, 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old? This is kind of old. I don't know. But if we're going to get, if NASA's going to be involved and be transparent, which we know they're not, I know. But if they're going to be, I want to hear some really good stuff. Some ripping good yarn. All right, I'm ready. Let's play this.
The gentleman with me now is Bob Exler.
Exler? I thought it was Oshler. What do I know?
Specialist. Bob, we're going to see some footage very shortly with sightings, what are allegedly UFOs. But from your point of view, what is the single most convincing piece of evidence that you've come across that convinces you that we have been visited?
Well, I started out extremely skeptical about this whole thing. I thought this was just rubbish from the tabloids, but I was surprised to find thousands of U.S. government documents from intelligence agencies that tended to indicate that there was a little bit more to this than met the eye. So I went to seek guidance from the various highest levels of the United States intelligence community, and I was quite alarmed at what I was able to learn.
Now, we are, in this report that we're now going to show, we're going to hear a conversation featuring you. Tell me the context of that conversation.
Well, I had contacted Admiral Bobby Ray Inman, who was the head of the National Security Agency in the United States, Deputy Director at CIA, Director of Naval Intelligence, and a variety of intelligence posts, a technologist, and clearly someone that, if this was really accurate, that there really were UFOs and non-human intelligence around, this is a man who had to know. Mm-hmm. So I was able to contact him thanks to a contact through Admiral Lord Hill Norton here in the UK. And this conversation, he alarmingly not only indicated that these issues were covered under national secrecy laws, but that the United States government did in fact have possession of the hardware associated with this. In other words, this was an actual physical phenomenon. As
a craft, a spaceship.
Several of them, and they were in operational condition, which I assume suggested that they had been in contact, that they had been given.
Wow. No, really. Isn't that amazing? Seriously. This is unbelievable. I believe him.
These craft for some reason or another, because they certainly weren't crashed vehicles.
Okay. Well, is there anyone out there? Sue Whitfield reports.
Sue? All right, yeah, we get it. The music, the whole nine.
Since 1947, when the term unidentified flying object was first coined.
All right, we don't need a history lesson.
You said earlier, but
his involvement in any matter.
Visitor or guardian. Remember that with the thumbprint?
I heard what you said earlier, but obviously the big problem always is the pictures are never conclusive.
The pictures, yes, are not conclusive, but when you get involved in an investigation and you find the extraordinary physical evidence left behind, and you talk to the witnesses, medical doctors, officials of governments,
talk
and
is
so
cheap.
forth. In one of the cases that we had just seen some video from, there was a Canadian official who was actually taken on board the craft. When you subject these areas of testimony to lie detectors, polygraph exams, using the kind of technology that we have to determine whether someone's actually telling the truth or not, the results become absolutely nothing short of alarming.
Okay.
Yeah, it is amazing. We have the technology to tell if somebody's lying, but it's not 100% yet. But there are, I don't know, what are they called? Signifiers? I don't know. There's so many things, warnings, and we all act the same. No matter where you live on the planet, when somebody's remembering something, they, up and to the left, or is it up and to the right? And then when they're, everybody does that when they're sad, they cry. When they laugh, ha ha ha, everybody has their own unique laugh, right? Yet there's so many tics and things that, when people are lying, their body rejects it because it's not normal for them to lie as much as they're lying. That's why if you do something that is extremely illegal, you'll probably get caught. Unless you're a sociopath and you show no emotions. Let's get to the Doddleston effect. Why do I keep calling it that? It is a time travel story. It is a very weird and interesting, and I don't know if it's a hoax. I don't know how much of this is true. But in the end, you're going to say, I wonder if it's possible. And that's what I like about this story. Because if it's possible, and I'll spoiler alert, I'll just get you up to date on what this is about. A man whose name I can't remember. You'll hear it. I'll play it for you. As a matter of fact, why do I even need to? I'll just jump in. I'll play this, and then we'll pause it here and there. All right, this is from the Y-Files. He does a better job at it than I do.
In December 1984, Ken Webster, a high school teacher, was living with his friend Nick and girlfriend Debbie in the small village of Dodleston. One evening, the three were walking home from the local pub when they saw a pulsing green light emanating from their cottage windows. When they got inside, they saw something that terrified them. Though their computer wasn't connected to any network and everyone in the house was gone all night, a strange message was written on the screen, a message addressed to them by name. Over the next few months, more messages appeared, and eventually Ken and his friends began corresponding with the person on the other side. At first, Ken thinks this is a hoax or a prank, but over time, he comes to believe that not only are the messages real, they're being written by someone living in the very same house in the year 1541. Let's find out why.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Yes, I have to pause it because that's how you do these things on YouTube. How is there electricity to power a computer in 1521. First one. Second, those people said they weren't connected to a network, yet they got a message on their computer and it was personalized to them. And thirdly, I can't figure out how they're doing it. All right. It's very weird, but they didn't have electricity back in 1521. But the way this person speaks to them, they figured out over the course of several months, with the help of a linguist, somebody who's an expert in language, go over these things that are being, these messages that were coming through. And the guy come to the realization that, my God, this guy's speaking this old language, but it's mixed in with stuff we do today, like exclamation points and question marks. They didn't have those back then. So it's very strange. It's almost as if they're making some mistakes along the way in their messages, but I think it's because this person was brought from the 1980s back to 1521, but he never said that. He never said he was transferred from 85 to 1521. So you get this story with messages that are coming in from somebody 400 and some odd years who lived in the same exact house that these people are living in 1985. But the story gets a little complex, let's just say. So they questioned each other, like, how is this possible? And, and explain, what it looks like in your time. Who's the king back in 1521? And this person on the other end is telling them, it's this, that, and the other thing. And everything was factually checked out as being correct. Now, there were some purposeful lies being told by this person in 1521 because they didn't trust the person they were talking to in 85 yet. So they gave them some things that weren't truthful, according to the story. There's also a third party involved, somebody who goes by the name 2109. Apparently, it's the year 2109. So this computer, was given to the person in 1521, and it was given a power technology to power it up and to communicate with it by just speaking into it. So maybe when they speak into it, it's mixed in with some of the dialogue or some of the letters and symbols we use today. I think that's why it may be mixed in with what this person is saying in 1521. So 2109, though, knows what's going on. And neither one of the people in 85 or in 1521 trust 2109. They feel like 2109 is manipulating them. And, well, I'm going to play it and you'll see. But it just gets a little bit crazy for me. But it's interesting nonetheless.
As written in Ken Webster's book, The Vertical Plane, strange things started happening as soon as they moved into Meadow Cottage at Dodleston near the border of England and Wales. One day, Ken noticed that small six-toed footprints seemed to walk directly up the wall and through the ceiling. It's a very old house, so he thought they were just little stains, so he painted over them. But the next day, the footprints were back, on top of new paint. After that, Ken, Nick, and Debbie would routinely see bottles, cans, and boxes stacked in towers, sometimes over 4 feet tall. They assumed that friends in the village were playing pranks, but nobody came forward. 2 months after the first message appeared, Ken, Debbie, and Nick returned home from a day trip and found a new file had been saved on the BBC computer. The file name was REATE. They opened it.
What strange words thou speak, although I must confess that I hath also been ill-schooled. Thou art goodly man who hath fanciful woman who dwell in mine home. 'Tis a fitting place, with lights which devil maketh, and costly things, that only mine friend Edmund Gray can afford, or the king himself.
Now, this was not the way people spoke in the 80s, but there was more.
Oh my gosh. I have to pause it here and there. I'm sorry, I just do. But as you can see, these conversations seem to get a little more in depth. And, you know, he's like, you're in my house with your wife doing unspeakable things in my room. You know, it's very strange for this person to say that. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, how do they know what's going on? It's weird. Because of 2109, that's what it is. All right, go.
'Twas a great crime to hath bribed mine house. LW.
Ken printed the message and brought it to school, where most people thought it was entertaining and nonsense. But not Peter Trinder. Trinder was a literature teacher who was convinced it was written in Old English. They interpreted the phrase devil lights to mean the computer. And Peter Trinder asked Ken to let him know if any more messages appeared so he can try and determine the location and the time period of the dialect. A few days went by with nothing. But then Ken had an idea. He wondered if, since he was able to receive messages, could he also send them? So he sat down on the computer and began to type. Now, at this point,
right. So they were just getting messages. I jumped ahead a little bit, but
in the story, Ken is still not convinced that this isn't a hoax, but he admits that he's intrigued, so he plays along. He sits at the computer and types question after question, trying to get information about who this is that could be sending messages from wherever they're coming from.
Dear LW, thank you for your message. We're sorry for disturbing you. What would you like us to do? Did you live on a house on this land about 1620? Do you want us to tell you more about our time? Who is Edmund Gray? Do you have a family? Is the king James or Charles? What is the charge house? Was this village called Doddleston in your life? Thank you very much for your messages. Thank you for not making us afraid. Ken, Debbie, and John.
They save the messages to disk, then leave the computer on and head out to the Red Lion pub. And the hope is that if they leave the computer alone for a while, that it would prompt a reply. And that's exactly what happened. When they returned home a few hours later, a new message was waiting for them.
'Twas an honest farm of oak and stone. It is helpful that you should tell me about thy time. Dost thou have horse? Edmund Gray, brother of John Gray, lives at Kinnerton Hall. Thy king, of course, is Henry VIII, who is 46. I know what of King James. Mine charge house is a place of law, schooling. LW. The 28th of March, anno 1521.
All right. So they asked these questions. Oh, that's weird. What happened to the volume on my thing? It went way down. So they started communicating, and the guy replies back, and apparently it's from 1521. But you know, when you sit there and if you put yourself in the position that these people are in, Ken, Debbie, and whoever the other one is, and they come home and they see lights on their computer with the messages, and then they get an answer, and the guy says 1521. Not only that, let's not forget that they were getting footprints. Six-toed, did they say? Footprints on their walls. And things were being stacked up and moved around, but not only in their house, but also at the guy's house in 1521. Now, one thing that, you know, I'm going to have to skip ahead a little bit because I can't play the entire video, so I'll just fill you in. But come to find out that this land, this property is dead center on a ley line. And ley lines, as you know, are places where the pyramids are built, things like that. What else? Stonehenge, you know, places like that. Machu Picchu. So this house lies right dead center on a major ley line, like where all points lead to this. Makes you wonder about reality, doesn't it? If things are moving in both of their places at the same time, basically, but 400 years apart, is it possible that when we're seeing figures and other things, it's because of the energy that they've manifested in their lives is still seeping through because of the ley lines or the energy of the earth. See, this I don't understand. This is the major problem we have in the paranormal community. We just don't know. Until there's a way to figure it out, we just don't know. But we're trying. EVPs to me and things on video, like when you're shooting video, you're also getting audio. I get EVPs a lot when I'm using my camera than just a MP3 recorder. It's pretty much the same. Anyway, I don't know. Just throwing it up there. Let's go. Continue. This is just getting a little stranger and stranger. So let's move a little forward here. And they confirmed a lot of what this guy was saying. That he is from where he says he was, and they're sharing the same land 400 years apart.
But eventually Ken reveals that he's actually writing from the year 1985, and that's where the story takes a turn.
You said your time be 1985. We thought you were also from 2109, like your friend.
What the? 2109? What friend?
It would appear that whatever phenomenon that Ken Webster encountered that allowed communication to the past was also a conduit for communication to the future.
Oh, come on.
As more...
Seriously. How do they... What do you... Now, if you're gonna create a hoax, how difficult would it be to have to understand the language of 1521 and then also be the person in 2109, and you got to remember all these different things? Wow, I just don't see how that this could be a hoax, but it's very possible. Very possible still.
More text came in, and as more of the information was researched by Peter Trinder, Ken was believing less that this was a hoax. The responses were coming too fast for someone to be breaking in and leaving files on his computer. And Ken and Debbie was starting to believe that they were somehow communicating with a real man. A man who lived 400 years ago on the same piece of land where Ken was living now. But who were the people from 2109? Lucas didn't seem to know. Lucas thought they were friends of Ken's. So Ken did the obvious thing. He asked.
Calling 2109.
And then came a response.
Don't!
Ken, Deb, Peter, we are sorry that we can give you only two choices. One, that you either have your predicament explained in such a way that you have instant understanding, but cause what should not happen. Or, two, try to understand that you three have a purpose that shall, in your lifetime, changes the face of history. We, 2109, must not affect your thoughts directly, but give you some sort of guidance that will allow room for your own destiny. All we can say is that we are all part of the same God. Whatever he or whatever it is.
Apparently,
there's one frustrating thing about this whole entire situation. You never these people never get an answer as to why they're special. How are they going to change history? World history. What is their importance? And 2109 can't tell them. But apparently the guy in 1521 wrote a book about these experiences with 2109 and 1985 people. And he put it in a place that's hidden, because back in 1521, people thought that this was witchcraft, and they actually put this guy in jail for a while. Yeah, they put him in prison because they thought it was witchcraft. They took the computer to the sheriff's office where he lived, and the people in 1985 came up with a way to release him from jail because they didn't hear from him for like days. So they're like, what happened? And they got an answer, and it said the sheriff came and got him. I can't remember who it was that told him that, his roommate or something. So they said to the sheriff through the computer, if you do not release LW, we are going to do some magic on you. We're going to screw up the town or something like that. We'll make you pay for it. And they released him from jail. So the guy had to, be on the DL for a while. Anyway, it's very, 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 very complex. But I'll continue where we left off.
Apparently, Ken's computer had opened two-way communication not only with the past, but with the future as well. And according to 2109, this communication had purpose, though we don't yet know what that purpose is. Meanwhile, Meadow Cottage was experiencing more and more events that seemed to be a poltergeist. Footsteps were heard at all hours of the night, but when they were investigated, nothing was there except footprints. Sections of the house would become so cold that breath was visible. More objects were found stacked in corners of rooms. Tapping was heard. Even words were found written in chalk around the house, including Lucas's name. The anxiety was becoming too much. Deb had rented another house nearby so they could occasionally get some sleep, and Nick, who'd been with them since the beginning, had moved out. Deb tried to find some explanation for what was happening and pulled some maps of the area. She learned that a ley line was running...
Wait. What's a ley line?
All right, I already told you that.
And they're still around today.
OG ghost hunters.
They are. And two investigators, David Welch and John Bucknell from the SPR, arrived and proposed a test. They would send 10 questions to 2109 and then delete them. But Ken and Deb would have no idea what the questions were. Ken and Deb were then separated from the computer while they waited for a reply. And a few days later...
John. David, you interfere with communication. Next time you decide to perform your little experiment, you must be clear from here. We suggest you try someone else to sit with Debbie. Yes, we are what you would call a tachyon universe, but your understanding is incorrect.
Right.
We ask nothing more of you than to carry on as you would prefer. We will have John present if given choice, or you may bring another as mentioned. No, it is no concern to us that this is not proved. We will give you a plotting of a star next time. We move at a speed so that we cover every point in your time and universe. We have no form. We feed of a heat energy that you will not have heard of. 2109.
Element 115. Oh, Bob Laser, everybody. So they said, hey, next time you want to try your little experiment, you better let us know. Because you could do something that could harm your destiny. That's how I read the message. And then they say, this is a tachyon. What did they say? Tachyon universe or something? Something about tachyon world, reality? Hold on.
Time and universe. We have no form. We feed of a heat energy that you will not have heard of. 2109.
I didn't go back far enough.
Experiment. You must be clear from here. We suggest you try someone else to sit with Debbie. Yes, we are what you would call a tachyon universe, but your understanding is incorrect.
We've heard of that before. Tachyon. Anyway, they're aware of what's going on in 1985. They're trying to figure it out. And 2109's like, don't you try that. It's like, what do you expect? I'm trying to see how much further I can go without really losing what's going on. Yeah, there's a lot there. Jesus. I don't know where to go to next. All right, let's go here.
And Debbie attributed this to Lucas rotting in a prison cell somewhere.
Oh, that's when they didn't get the messages from him, and then they told them to release him or we'll give you death.
Asked that a paper and pen be set next to the computer.
Here we go.
Now, Ken didn't understand this, but he did as he was instructed. The next morning, next to the computer was a handwritten note. The writing was elegant and archaic, and the note was signed Thomas.
What the?
Early in their communications, Lucas, whose real name was Thomas, was reluctant to give his real name. He said that this was out of fear of being accused of witchcraft, which actually came to pass. But Thomas left clues about his full name in his letter. He said, "You have my name in your book. It is also the name of Peter's house." Peter lived close by in a town called Harweden, which was also the location of the school where Ken and Peter taught. Using this information, Ken and Peter were able to track down a man named Thomas Harweden, who was a fellow at Brasenose College at Oxford in the 1530s. This was their guy. And Ken, Debbie, and Peter were getting very close to the truth and learning everything they could about Thomas Harweden. But the entity known as 2109 seemed to be upset by this. A few days later, the computer was moved into the bathroom on its own, and then Ken found a message scribbled in chalk on the floor.
Okay. Did you hear what he just said? The computer was moved into the bathroom on its own. On its own? No.
To the truth and learning everything they could about Thomas Harweden. But the entity known as 2109 seemed to be upset by this. A few days later, the computer was moved into the bathroom on its own, and then Ken found a message scribbled in chalk on the floor.
You see, I don't like that. Doesn't it seem like it's a hoax? How did it move? Because these people in 2109 have the technology to do it. To jump in and out of reality. See, here's the deal. If they're able to do that and manipulate stuff in 1985 from 2109 and also in 1521 or anywhere, because they're a tachyon universe where there is no time, everything is now. But does that mean they can travel anywhere they want in the blink of an eye? So why don't they just appear in front of these people? Why have this parlor trick, with the computers? Just be up front and go visit people and say, "Hey, I'm from 2109. You're going to be a very important person. Beep-a-dop-a-deep. Why do you got to do all this window dressing?" That's another reason why I think this is this is a really good hoax if it's a hoax. It's literally too good. But if it's real, it's amazing. That's why we do what we do.
One more chance. Measure frequency by +2 energy. What else other than sound and light?
This 2109 is freaking me out.
I know.
Ken, Deb, Peter, we have reason to believe you have Lucas Wainman's true name. If this is correct, you must say so we can rectify the problem immediately before it is accepted.
She's touchy.
Yeah, and Ken wanted to minimize his contact with 2109. After more communication with Thomas Harweden in the 16th century, Ken learned that 2109 was tampering with many of the earlier messages that Thomas, aka Lucas, had sent. Apparently, 2109 was trying to obscure details to prevent Ken from discovering Thomas's true identity, which is why some facts were wrong. Meanwhile, the Society for Psychical Research had lost interest in the case. They told a local paper,
"Clearly, if this case is a hoax, then the two teachers are the prime suspects. I believe it is also possible that a third party was responsible. I would have loved to prove it was genuine. It would have been the most unique phenomenon ever recorded. Something or someone is doing it. It was not the job of the SPR to point the finger."
As Ken suspected, the SPR was extremely skeptical and wasn't taking the investigation seriously. So Ken contacted the SPR to obtain the records of the case. Strangely, the SPR said there is no record of such a case. Investigator John Bucknell had disappeared and nobody could reach him. And there was no record of anyone named David Welch affiliated with the SPR. As far as the SPR is concerned, none of this ever happened. And everyone connected to the case was gone. Apparently, 2109 was aware of Ken's frustration because...
And 2109 rectified the situation, eliminating, deleting, removing, extracting, blocking out, redacted. This is crazy. It doesn't make any sense, really. It's like, why do all this if you're not going to tell them why they're special? So far, it's just, who are you? Why are you here? And how can I trick you, right, into getting some sort of information other than 2109? But the thing is, they get caught at every single turn. It's almost as if this is a test by the government. Like they rented a place across the street from them, and they know when these people come and go. So they break into their home. There might even be a tunnel underneath that goes from one house to the other. Seriously, because they're getting in and moving the computer around and nobody's seeing anything happen. It could just be a test or a prank by somebody, maybe one of their students, a couple of them, I don't know. But it is strange. That's all I can say. This is very odd.
And had left him a very specific message.
We ask you to do the following. There is a brilliant researcher, ufologist. We know you don't like the word. His name is Gary M. Rowe. His ideas differ somewhat to yours, but nevertheless, he can help you with a couple of your problems. You may phone him at the number below and invite him to talk with you. When he comes, show him this and ask him what he makes of it. Peter must do the telephoning. Tell him that you got his telephone number from a UFO enthusiast.
Why? Why get Gary Rowe, a ufologist, to look into this? Does that make any sense to anyone here? We're talking about a time-traveling computer, a computer that can interact with the past, the present, and now. This has nothing to do with flying objects. Why bring that guy into this?
2109.
Gary Lowe was a UFO investigator who was skeptical, but he did come out to Meadow Cottage with all kinds of equipment to try and figure out what was going on. And this began a series of communication between Gary and 2109 directly. The process was this. Gary would put a letter in a sealed envelope and place it on top of the computer. When 2109 would respond, the message was printed and put into an envelope without Ken reading it. And this back and forth continued for some time when Gary finally sent a message back to 2109 that read,
"Greetings. I am instructed to apologize, but in any event, I would have done so of my volition. There will be a letter hopefully this weekend. I am also instructed to apologize to Ken and Debbie. I must try and answer your last letter. It would appear that you are more important than I had realized in the scheme of things. Gary."
Apparently, something in one of the messages from 2109 had caused Gary to become very secretive about the communication and the contents of the letters. Now, Ken became so frustrated and angry that Gary left that night. And they would never hear from Gary again.
Unbelievable. They wiped him out. They wiped him out. I want to thank Glenn Croy. I think this was from before. Yeah, that was the older one. Lantonio, thank you for the $2 super chat. And then for some reason it didn't show up like it normally does on PayPal, but I did get the $20 on PayPal and the message. So thank you for that. I can't thank you enough for all the support you've given. Thank you. Appreciate that, Shane. Lantonio, everybody. Thanks, man. Man, you sent that at 8:04. All right, back to the Y-Files. Thank you, guys. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Oh, wow. See, I don't know, man. That's weird. All right, let's get back. We're almost done. We've got about 10 minutes left. This is where things get really bizarre. Like, how? Here we go.
As Ken continued to communicate with Thomas, aka Lucas, Lucas explained that one night he saw glowing lights coming from his fireplace. From the light, a man stepped out and asked him to not be afraid. When the man left, Lucas found what he described as a light box in his kitchen. He realized that when he spoke to the light box, his words would appear on a screen in glowing green letters. And on March 21st, 1985, Lucas had sent his final message.
My true fellows and sweet maid, Grona has said that Thomas must go. I know it is for the best because the people of Doddleston are very wary of me. It is good to know that all will change and there are true men to follow like Ken and Peter. Though 400 years is a long time, and there is much to happen to mankind. Perhaps you will come to Oxford. Now I think there is no danger for me there, for I hear the king is very sick and all is quiet in the church. I shall go by boat from Cheshire to Bristol. I shall try to make my stay at Brasenose. I will write my book about my brothers and maid and the end of Lucas and our love for one another. One day you will all sit down at my table for wine and mead by the river in Oxford, where we shall read each other's books and laugh, and we shall speak of truth and good men, watching Oxford change together forevermore. In your time, my book is old, but I shall not go to my God until it is written. Then we will all be truly embraced. My love to you all. I shall await you in Oxford. Thomas Harden.
That was beautiful. Touching.
Well, that was touching.
I thought so.
Did he ever write the book?
Well, we have one final message from 2109.
There is another person to come. They will be the help we need. You will know when they come. Thomas did eventually write his book, and he soon died shortly after.
Oh.
He placed it in a secure place. It shouldn't take too many years to find it, though he wrote it in Latin with the help of a friend that he met in Oxford. The inscription reads,
Me writes this with the hope that mine friends will one day find this book. Then may our lands be not so distant.
We will finish now. You have a lot of work to do. There is no need to write back as we will have gone. Thank you for your cooperation. 2109.
So, what have we learned all the way up till now? We learned nothing. We learned that there's a computer in 1521, 1985, and 2109 connecting all three simultaneously, past, present, and future. Nobody understands how. Nobody knows why. Just that they're special for history. Now, the end of this seals it up nicely. So we will continue, and you will be very, very, very happy with the ending to this story. Or if you're like me, you're going to be pissed.
And no more communication would follow. In all, Lucas in 2109 had sent over 300 messages to Ken and Debbie. And a few years later, Ken would document the story in his book, The Vertical Plane. The story would again be covered in 1996 in a BBC documentary called From Out of This World. And Ken and Debbie appeared on the program, but with their backs to the camera. They claimed that the messages were real, and they held important information about our past and future. You can find Debbie online posting as recently as a few weeks before I recorded this, and she sounds reasonable, rational.
And this was a year ago, so she's around. And he leaves contact information.
And convinced. And while their story has many skeptics, Ken and Debbie insist that one day their story will be revealed to be the truth. I hope they're right.
To what? The truth to what? To what? What? What did 2109 say that was so compelling? And why did he talk to 1521? And what does 1521 have to do with anything in 2109? Are they all related? Is there a bloodline I'm not seeing here? Are they hybrids? Hybrids? As we learned last night, there's hybrids. Isn't it? Hybrids? Hubris. No, that's cheese. All right, let's finish this. Yeah, well, there's more. Yeah, you're like I said, if you're like me, you're going to be mad. Go.
Wow, this is a good story. So how much of it is real? All of it? None of it? All of it?
All of it!
Well, here's what I've been able to dig up. Peter Trinder essentially worked as a translator of the messages. And the original script was so foreign sounding that he had to dig through years of the Oxford English Dictionary to decipher meanings of lots of the words. And Trinder said that this would be almost impossible to fake, especially for someone with no background in medieval languages. And Peter Trinder even went on camera with the BBC to say so.
It was very real. That's all I'm saying, Richard. It was very close. The kind of thing that you could not doubt. But all the time one was aware of the possibility of hoax. But if it was a hoax, by golly, it was brilliant.
And on the skeptical side, also from the same program, there's Dr. Laura Wright of Cambridge.
Looking at the verb structure, there are things which Lucas says that would not have been said in 1546. It's true that individuals can make up individual words, but we don't make up our verbs. It's possible, or it was possible in England in 1546 to say I do, thou dost, he, she, or it doth, he, she, or it does. But it wasn't possible to say I doth, or he, she, or it dost. Now, all the way through Lucas's messages, he mixes and messes up these suffixes with the wrong subject.
Finally, when asked if she thought it was a hoax by someone with a background in early English writing...
No, if somebody had a background in early modern English writings, their hoax would look a lot better than this. I mean, they would get their verbal inflections correct. They wouldn't choose vocabulary that came from a period long before the period that this is supposed to have been written in. They'd do it a lot better.
Oh, that's interesting. But I had an explanation as to why his grammar was incorrect for the time. Because of the person in 2109 who uploaded the language into the speaking computer, because what he had to do was speak into it. They didn't get a keyboard. And when he spoke into it, I think the languages kind of were mixed together. And not 100% accurate for that reason alone. The computer, just like today, when we speak into the talk to text, it gets some things wrong. And that's what I think is happening here. It shouldn't, though, but it did. Yeah. It is, well, is it a hoax?
Also, a sample of Ken's writing was run through software and compared against Lucas's messages. The result was that both sets of writing tested close enough with the software that they were possibly composed by the same author.
Wow.
Now, Ken said that 300 words isn't nearly large enough of a sample, and that the BBC specifically chose passages that they were sure would give them the results they hoped for.
Media always has an agenda.
That's true. Now, Ken and Debbie's roommate showed up in a forum a few years ago saying that Meadow Cottage was actually a peaceful place, and that he never experienced any of the phenomena that Ken did.
So Ken's lying?
Well, John doesn't go that far. He said Ken was a serious person and wouldn't want to open himself up to ridicule by writing a book that would make him out to be a loon. Another rumor, which I read online, I don't know if it's true, is that when the librarian was researching the books on Lucas's list, it's been reported that someone else was there also researching the same books. That's just what I read on a blog post. I'm not judging, I'm just reporting. But here's something interesting. In the book, which was published in 1989, Entity 2109 says that in Ken's lifetime, Fermat's last theorem would be solved. Pierre de Fermat proposed a mathematical theorem in 1637, and it was studied by mathematicians for over 350 years and couldn't be solved. Well, in 1995, Andrew Wiles published the first successful proof of Fermat's last theorem, a proof that earned Wiles the Abel Prize.
2109 was right.
They were. And that's an obscure detail for a hoaxer to just come up with, and it's a hell of a gamble. Also, 2109 gave the coordinates of an undiscovered star that they said would be important to mankind. And years later, a quasar was found at those coordinates. And Lucas talks about being imprisoned by a Sheriff Thomas Fowlhurst of Cheshire. Now, there's no record of this man, but I did some sleuthing, and it turns out that there absolutely was a Sir Thomas Fowlhurst with a slightly different spelling but same pronunciation.
So, where are you leaning? Is it a hoax? We're going to find out. Is it real? Is it everything? Are we getting half-truths? Is this a parlor trick played on, well, all of us for humanity to learn? Don't believe everything you see? Why do this? Why? It just seems like a useless hoax. Absolutely useless. You've got, all we have is a story. Nothing else. Except for the photographs, pictures and notes and strange events.
Who was Sheriff of Cheshire in 1529, which is awfully close to the right time.
Did you ever find that UFO guy?
Ah, Gary Rowe.
Yeah, that guy.
Though UFO researcher Gary Rowe disappeared for years, he's since spoken out about the Doddleston messages. In the description, I'll link to a blog post from as recently as 2017 where Gary has all kinds of things to say. He believes every word of it. He thinks he was chosen to receive this information from 2109 because the information is safe with him.
Many people are highly skeptical about the...
What? Wait, what? Hold on, pull this up. Many people are highly skeptical about the events related in the Vertical Plane book. Well, quite rightly so, given the degree of strangeness, but I am not. I left no stone unturned and used cutting-edge science to get to the truth. Wow. What? Hey, Gary, what was the cutting technology you used? In fact, I believe it was the first computer-controlled psychic investigation recorded in the world. I know it really happened. It changed my life forever. It's going to change ours. Yeah, yours. The book will one day be ISBN recorded under the history section.
Recorded in the world. I know it really happened. It changed my life forever. It is going to change yours. The book will, one day, be ISBN recorded under the history section. It is a monumental, historical marker in the ribbon of time.
Is he right? I guess time will tell.
So, nobody knows.
I don't know if the Doddleston messages story can be debunked, but it can certainly be contested. But I have to admit, a lot of the story can be confirmed. Now, Ken and Debbie haven't cashed in, and they seem to be very nice, intelligent, reasonable people. And after the BBC program, they sought no further publicity about the story, even knowing how many books they can sell. And Ken said back then, now, just over 10 years after our own adventures, the sad but good advice seems to be to keep quiet about it. Meadow Cottage was important to us. It is sufficient. And although Debbie can be found online, Ken prefers privacy, and I think we should respect that. All we can hope for is that one day, buried under the dusty, faded stacks in the Brasenose Library at Oxford, someone will discover a mysterious book, handwritten in Latin, a book that tells a fantastic tale of a relationship between people across time. People, though initially fearful and skeptical of one another, establish a friendship that would change all their lives. And this book, when finally discovered, will change everyone's life, everywhere, forever. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Why? Just like he said, we'll have to find out. But that Debbie lady, believe it or not, is around. And you can see here, I'll pull it up. You can get a hold of her. I'm wondering if we should get her on the show. Wait, I thought her information was here. Isn't it? Oh, here it is. Deb's messages online. Let's take a look. I'm not sure what to believe. But when I listen to this now for the third, maybe fourth time, I realize one thing. It's useless. It's totally useless. So he writes a book, and how is it going to change history? If the story is the one we just heard, we already know it. But that, if there is a book, I'm sure there'll be some details in it, but I really don't know. This just doesn't make sense. Ghost in the Machine is, what is this? The Vertical Plane. It's Ken's book. He says he was 14 when the first season of The X-Files was broadcast on UK TV. This was the perfect age to become obsessed with the program's mix of aliens, ghosts, and conspiracy theories. Like Fox Mulder, I wanted to believe. The series sparked an obsession that made me an eager viewer of the other most awful programs which tried to cash in on the 1990s vogue for the paranormal. Amongst the most awful was a BBC series. It may have been the one presented by Carol Vorderman, although I can't recall for certain, which was a ragbag of strange but true stories presented through dramatic reconstructions. I can remember very little about it, save for one episode that has always stayed with me. I told the story of a man in the early 1980s who found that this BBC microcomputer had become a conduit through which he could communicate with a man from the 16th century. The latter was mystified by the box of lights, which had appeared in his house, and accused the computer owner of witchcraft. Gradually, however, as the two carried on their electronic conversations, a more trusting relationship developed. The program concluded by stating that archival research supposedly revealed that the 16th century man had actually existed, and that expert linguists had concluded that the dialect and vocabulary he used was authentic to the period. A few weeks ago, 15 years on, a memory of the story popped back into my head for some reason. Some quick Googling revealed that other people remembered it too, and that the man in question, Ken Webster, had written a book about his experience called The Vertical Plane. Intrigued, I ordered a secondhand copy and spent a happy afternoon reacquainting myself with this story. The book badges itself as a unique supernatural detective story, and one look at the cover gives an early warning that it was published by HarperCollins's Occult Division. Anyway, and it goes on to tell the whole story. I could have read all this tonight and avoided the copyright claims, but hell no, I'm not reading all that. But there's some of Debbie's interaction here. She was the one of the people who experienced the computer, and apparently these are some of her. Hold on a second. Okay. Some of her interactions. Look, here's Gary Rowe, Bingo Barnes, Gary Rowe again, Xerxes, Steve Scarrett. Who are these people? Well, where's Debbie? Well, she's in here. It's huge. I mean, this thing goes on for a mile. Look. Told you. I mean, I was only about halfway through. I'll put the link to this in the show description as well, so you guys can check it out. Make it a good read for yourself, maybe. I don't know. But my thing is, any day now, any day, we're going to find out the truth to this story, if it's true. Because these people are my age. You're 55, 60-ish, right? They're not going to be around 25 more years. It's got to happen within the next 20 years. But what? What did we take from this story? Nothing. Nothing. I literally wasted my time. And not only that, all of yours. That's how it feels. I feel like I've learned nothing from this story. When I first watched it, I was intrigued. When I watched it the other day, I was even more intrigued. But now that I watched it and went over it with you, why? 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 Well, like the guy said in the Y-Files, we don't know yet. We still have to wait. That's so stupid. And why didn't the guy in 1521 bury something in a drawer, in a hole, and then tell these people where to go find it? Dig up under the old oak tree, maybe that's where it is, with the ribbon on it that's yellow. And then they find this box. Wouldn't that be it's like the movie Frequency. If you haven't seen it, see it. See it. It's a cool movie. Yeah. It's one of my favorite science fiction, time travel, time communication movies. It's similar to this, but has a great ending. Actually, one of the best endings I could have ever thought of for a movie. It's perfect. Frequency. No, I'm serious. Check it out. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it an 8.5. It's fun. It's got, who is it, Eric Caviezel? Is that his name? Caviezel? He's good. And also another popular actor who's not doing much anymore. Shit. Well, anyway, check out Frequency. It's good. I told you we'd go right up to the 2 hours, didn't I? Didn't I? Of course. Of course. And what else are we going to talk about before we get out of here? Oh, okay. Now, we have no idea why this happened. So you know what we got to do? Get rid of it. I want to go here. Because we're about to talk about ufology again for a few more minutes. I don't want to forget some things before the weekend starts. It's Saturday, right? Isn't today Saturday? It is Saturday. So I see this post, and this interview was posted by Redacted, June 8th, this year, a few days after the David Grush story was posted in the debrief and days before Grush went on News Nation. Joshua Reed is a former U.S. Navy member, and he mentions Grush's lawyer, Chuck McCullough, as well as 2 additional whistleblowers that also provided their firsthand testimony to Congress with Grush. The 2 bits included in this clip are, one is one of the whistleblowers that came forward to Congress with Grush is apparently the pilot that was in Varginha in 96 and was part of the UFO craft and body retrieval there. 2, secondly, Reed discusses a film that shows Congress interacting with NHIs. And this film is supposed to function as a failsafe. And where is it now? In the hands of a couple of prominent UFO researchers, one a documentarian. Gee, sounds like James Fox to me. Put 2 and 2 together. That's what James Fox is saving for his next documentary. He won't show it to you for free. This is James Fox we're talking about, who sold out to ufology. He took the Jeremy Corbell course of grifting, the best grifting can offer. And he's doing it now. You don't give away anything. So what if it takes you 2 years to make this documentary? You don't show anybody anything. Let them pay. And they'll pay. Okay. Let them pay. Got it. Let them pay. And James Fox is now Jeremy Corbell. But here's part of the interview that I was just talking about. Here we go.
role play this out with me a little bit here. Am I being too cynical here, or is this maybe more?
Well, I would be right along there with you on this assumption, except for what I was told recently. One of these whistleblowers is a retiring Air Force pilot who was the pilot in the 1990s of the Varginha incident in Brazil. He is the one that went down there with the military, recovered the 2 aliens.
So he's going to say he saw the pilot. So this whistleblower, see, he just told us who it was. He's retiring. He was one of the pilots that was there when the Varginha thing took place. So we can do a FOIA request and get that information, right? Find out who the pilot was. He just told us who it was without telling us his name. Good going.
Alien bodies and the alien aircraft that James Fox did the Moment of Contact with documentary. He is the man who was there, who did this event. He, along with the other ones, are the ones who provided this evidence. They've been in part of these programs for a while now. And that's kind of all I can say on that matter. But there is a lot of legitimacy behind these other 2 whistleblowers that we're not seeing right now.
So
it's just more storytelling. So what? We know there are alien bodies, right? We know that since Roswell. We know there's captured, found, archival, archaeological UFOs in our possession. Great. I don't need to hear another whistleblower tell me they saw something unless they have a photograph or a video to go with it. Anybody can tell a story. Yeah, he may have been there. Yeah, he saw the body. Cool, I'll listen to him. It's not necessary anymore. We know. Just going to help another guy's career is all it is.
Do we know where that evidence sits? And
you'll see.
So many in our audience, I'm sure in your audience as well, would say, when can we see this video? When can we see these DVDs? Where is that? Will we ever get to see it?
So from what I am hearing is the evidence is their insurance policy. It is in the hands of 2 prominent.
Insurance policy to what, guy? What? What does that mean? Ask him a question. It's an insurance policy. A very interesting thing he said there. I'll let him continue. I'm not even going to follow up on that. It's too hard for me to ask.
UFO researchers. And
hold on, let me go back.
Where is that? Will we ever get to see it?
So from what I am hearing is the evidence is their insurance policy. It is in the hands of 2 prominent UFO researchers. And yes, that they've seen this evidence, they verified it. That's why a lot of this is being pushed and interviews are coming. I don't know if this evidence is going to be coming out into the public because it is their insurance policy.
Right.
But I will say that one of the most prominent UFO documentarists out there has this information apparently.
Okay, I think I know who that is. And wow.
It's James Fox. It's not that hard to figure out. I would not consider this guy a friend. He just ratted everybody out. I can't tell you who it is, but you can figure it out. Right? Not a nice guy. Takes all the pressure off himself, throws it on James Fox. James, where's that video, bro? Did you hear what he said? I don't know if the public will ever see it. Guys, don't you understand the language by now? When somebody says that, you'll never see it. Because they don't have it. I don't care. They don't have it. And if James Fox has it and is holding on to it, because according to this person, it's his insurance policy to keep him alive, I'm assuming. Insurance policy for what, bro? What does that mean? He could make copies of it. Duh. And think these things through when you're going to start lying to the public. Think it through there, Chief. Because what you're saying doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, there's something wrong. And what I'm gathering from what this guy just told us, there's something wrong. And James Fox is at the center of it all. James Fox is holding on to supposed life-threatening UFO alien evidence and doesn't want to share it with the public. Why? Because it's an insurance policy. On what? Well, we don't know. So we have to assume. I am assuming it's an insurance policy to save his life. Stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Those days are over. People make copies of this stuff and they give it out to all their friends and say, if I go dying anytime soon, you got to put this out there and let people know why. Do you know how stupid that is? You give me information that killed you and you want me to go forward? What are you, stupid? No, I don't want it. I don't even want the information. I don't even want to look at it. Very presumptuous. Very short-sighted. Very dangerous way of living. Because it's all bullshit. Because now that it's out there, and this guy ratted out James Fox ratted it out himself anyway, but this guy told us what the video is. If the government wants it, and believe me, the government already knows what James Fox has. If they wanted it, they would get it. They don't care. The government doesn't care what the public puts out on a DVD, on an MP3, I don't know, on the internet. They don't care anymore. Because we have Jaime Maussan showing aliens that are so fake and people still trying to believe it. Wanting to believe it. And the other half doesn't. And it's pretty much split down the middle. It's weird. I can't see how those things could even be considered. A 50%, I'm not sure if those are real alien mummies. Let's assume for a minute that they are the real deal. That's how you present them to the public? Weak. Very weak. Very, very weak. You don't do it that way. You don't bring an alien species out in the public air. How dare you? You don't know what kind of toxins could be released in that thing if there's a time-released something or another inside your alien. Very presumptuous of Jaime Maussan to think that those things are not a health problem. Who knows? Maybe that's where COVID came from. These are the COVID mommies. the co-mummies. Well, look, this field is filled with a lot of people saying a lot of things that they can't prove. And I got something all night. I know. All right. It's like I'm shitting. All right. Yeah, I know. I was trying to ignore it all night. But we've got a lot of people saying a lot of things. And what this guy just said, I don't know if the public will ever see it, already set the stage that we'll never see it. He already knows because it's bullshit. If we do see it, it's not going to be as great of a claim of an alien or whatever it is they want to show us. It's going to be shit. It's not going to be in a 4K like they say. Guarantee it. You're not going to see it. You'll see. And if you do see it, it'll be in a documentary. And you'll have to pay. And you'll have to pay. It's not my ufology, guys. If you're holding on to evidence that could literally change the world overnight, real alien evidence, just put it out there. This whole thing that it's a what did he say? It's protecting them. It's safety. It's their safety. What did he say? Hold on. Listen. This is the man who was there with the Vargine.
Yeah, the ones are the ones who provided this evidence. They've been in part of these programs for a while now. And that's kind of all I can say on that matter. But there is a lot.
Oh my God. I just realized who this guy was. Oh no. He's part of the problem. This guy. Yeah, he's part of the problem. He's on that side of ufology. No wonder why he's promoting it. And look, dude, don't be wearing a hat trying to be me. I started the hat. Wearing a sport coat.
And that's kind of all I can say on that matter. But there is a lot of legitimacy behind these other two whistleblowers that we're not seeing right now.
The other two whistleblowers that we're not seeing. Anyway, we'll be back on Monday. That's it for tonight. I want to thank you guys for hanging out, supporting the show, giving the love. Oh, and did I get the PayPal? I did, right? I already said that. All right. Let me double check. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Shane and Michael. Thank you guys very much for the support, the moderators and super chatters, like through another level. Thank you for supporting the show. Glenn, everybody. And we will be back on Monday. Tomorrow we take off for football Sunday. But there will be a members video tomorrow or later tonight. Probably tomorrow. I've got a lot of stuff I got to do tonight. So thank you very much for hanging out. And what do we do here? We do truthology for ufology. For you. It's true. I think we do that. Thank you, everybody. Mucho gusto. Lava Russo. Be good to each other. Be kind to your neighbors. Wait, that's the same thing. Be good? No, that's like saying to children. I tell you what, it's the weekend, right? Have some fun. Get some sun. And alien bless. That was a good one.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
Warning. Control life. Warning. Warning. Failure. Control life.